Slipknot video. Today's video is going to be a full review of Season 3B, which is the second half of Season 3. I've already got a video up of the first half, if you want to go check that out. So we're going to start off by talking about the Empire Dance, which is the finals dance that they're rehearsing. This dance, you can tell that if you've watched it loads of times, you can kind of tell that it's the finals routine without the prop. I like how they recapped the first half of the season so new people can find out without having to watch the whole thing before watching this episode. Unless you don't like spoilers. And also it gives everyone who watched the first half of the season a recap. It's crazy how the next step at the start was a small studio that went to regionals, and now they're going to internationals. Giselle talking about James and Riley's relationship going well foreshadows James quitting the band because Riley and him got into a fight about it, and about Ella. I was glad that Michelle stayed in E-Troop. It didn't really bother me too much because she was a mess for that season and she only became an alternate, so there wouldn't be much difference without her, to be honest. Michelle staying does foreshadow her being made an alternate. I think Michelle should have been an alternate, to be honest. I think that was a good decision on Kate's part. And also I kind of think Riley should have been the alternate, to be honest, because even Stephanie can do certain things that Riley can't necessarily do, and so can Amanda. Ella saying Riley shouldn't be waiting around for James foreshadows Ella and Riley playing soccer in Studio A and breaking the Nationals trophy. The chips thing was quite funny, but the playing soccer I don't think really appealed to me that much. Them ordering drinks in different accents was funny. Though it was sort of, uh-oh, the Nationals trophy's broken. Good episode, though the sweet spots were a bit weird. I rate it 9 out of 10. Next is Season 3, Episode 17. The miming thing that Talia and Eldon were doing was weird. They should have just sort of waited for Eldon to finish his pirouettes and get dirty and then start dating, because it just seemed so weird, like they were trying all they can just to avoid waiting and to outsmart James. Some of Ella's pranks I liked, some made me feel a bit uncomfortable. Though the square dancing prank made me nervous. The square dancing was an interesting form of dance. Riley saying she wonders whether it will work or make everyone stressed foreshadows the team being stressed about the square dance. Eldon has some really good tricks. I like how Noah and Eldon that were just talking about learning tricks and talking about how Eldon talking about the fact he takes a long time to learn things. That's really relatable, because a lot of people can find that it takes a really long time to learn things. I find it takes me ages to learn things, which is really frustrating at times. I'd say Noah and Eldon are kind of equally matched, but Noah can do stuff Eldon can't do, and Eldon can do stuff that Noah can't do. I didn't know that square dancing could be stressful, is one thing. I think they did just kind of, with that bit, overreact a bit with the costumes. I like how Noah and Rochelle's friendship, in the fact that Rochelle checked in on Noah. The square dance definitely at the start was a disaster. The square dance looked a mess at the start. Noah's new tricks were amazing. Good episode, 9 out of 10. It was interesting, but not my most favourite episode. Next is Season 3, Episode 18. Tara and Eldon will eventually date. It's gonna happen. Talia says I hope James doesn't find out, foreshadows James finding out. Ella saying she wouldn't mess with Riley foreshadows her stealing Riley's solo. The passing on the message thing is kind of weird because the message sort of ends up turning really weird and doesn't make sense. Riley saying she doesn't want anything to do with Ella foreshadows Riley hanging out with Ella going for milkshakes. Ella saying to Riley, don't give me any ammunition to use against her foreshadows Riley showing Ella her solo and Ella stealing Riley's choreo. Ella saying to Riley, Riley's right, that if she doesn't give Ella any reason to mess with her, she won't, but she does give Ella a reason to mess with her, so she does mess with her. But it is Riley's own fault that Ella stole her solo. Like, you don't just go showing your solo to anyone on a team, on any random team. Max and Rochelle's duet's good. I love how the dance has such good technique. Really clean executed lifts. The musicality was good. Like the best time Rochelle's shown musicality. Wes definitely gives a weird message. James, you can tell, is so mad. Because I can see why, because no one's listened to him. Like, he's saying that Ella could mess with and Riley didn't listen. Partly why it is her own fault. Eldon not reaching 30 pirouettes. Talia's not listening in the fact that they're both not listening in the sense of they're trying to date before they're ready. So, and good episode, 8 out of 10. Too much love for my liking. Next is season 3, episode 19. I love watching the rehearsals of the dances. James and Riley, apart from their fight, I like their relationship in season 3. They solved their issues better than they did in season 2. Ella helping Noah I thought was good. I liked watching people just work on their tricks and practice their dances. Stephanie is being quite harsh with Michelle. Michelle hoping her dad finds her dance bag foreshadows her dad giving her his hockey bag. Riley being James was hilarious. Ella gives Noah good corrections. Ella makes a good point to Noah. Riley being James was funny, and so was James being Riley funny. The dance was good, but you could tell that the spacing was clearly 4 or 5 people and there was only 4 people. Which kind of really threw off the number, but other than that it was good. Because they tried really hard. They had amazing moves. Their technique was incredible. The second dance, their hip-hop technique was fantastic. Had so many tricks. Such a good dance, so clean. Great spacing. I rate this episode 9 out of 10. Next is season 3, episode 20. This is one of my favourite episodes of season 3. Don't know why. Giselle does not give good dance captain advice. You can tell Rochelle has a crush on Noah and wants to get over him and is avoiding him. And Rochelle thinks that by not dancing with Noah, she'll just get over him. Eldon definitely. There's a lot of things that are lucky. Can't believe strangers are just putting their change on the table. That's kind of weird because they just sort of put it on the table without thinking about what could happen. Beth, I think, should have continued her development on from season 2 into season 3 because Beth at the end of season 2 at that point was one of my favourite characters. I like watching them rehearse, Sierra and Jake. Their duet was good. Stephanie saying I hope Giselle can fix this problem foreshadows Giselle fixing the problem. Noah and Rochelle, their lifts are good. I don't get why Beth was made to seem away with the fairies because she can focus, she can do it, she has the ability to do it. Like, she's not a bad dancer. Jake and Sierra, the lifts are good, the technical aspects are there. And their performance is amazing. Eldon busking's funny, don't know why, I guess because he was just playing the harmonica. It's it's also painful at the same time. Beth and Stephanie, they had the technical aspects along with the sass and personality. It was a complete performance. Noah and Michelle's duet, their lifts were good, the tricks were good, but it wasn't my most favourite. Good episode, I do rate it a 10 out of 10. Next is season 3, episode 21. The dance is good, but without Noah, it's kind of boring. Next is season 3, episode 21. The dance is good, but without Noah, it's kind of boring because all the cool stuff just isn't there, and it seems so boring to watch. And also, Michelle doesn't really do anything. Noah does something. Riley definitely not really being that considerate. Like, she just blurts out she's a female soloist. She just doesn't think about what she's saying before she says it. The burping thing was funny. It was so loud. The egg thing was gross. It makes me sick just thinking about it. Alden and Noah have such good technique. Their duet was so fluid, it had so much power. Football was funny to watch. Stephanie I like in this season because she cares about people and she shows that she might not seem like she does, but she does care. She just does it in her own way, which works. I rate it 9 out of 10. Next is season 3, episode 22. Never thought Wes would think Switzerland was what Sweden was called. I like Max and Alden's duet, it was so funny. I love the song. Luke and Theo, their songs were both really good. Ella was such a good singer. Amanda never thought Michelle would be an alternate. I never thought that too. It was a good episode, the party was good. And just a good episode, 10 out of 10. Next is season 3, episode 23. I like watching the next step at internationals. I liked Miami. Miami's just everything. Miami's saying it would be fun to spend time with Ella foreshadows Ella forgetting her wallet and it not being fun. The Cuban restaurant Ella and Riley went to looks amazing. I would love to go to Paris and overdo some croissants and see the Eiffel Tower. The Miami beach is beautiful. The water's just water, but it's beautiful. Definitely a lot of food because it looks nice. Wes definitely knows a lot about Miami. Riley working as a waitress was funny because she was just so stressed out. Though that chef is crazy, so I can kind of see why. The freestyle looks so much fun. Fantastic fun. I wrote it 10 out of 10. Next is season 3, episode 24. To be honest, I didn't think Phoebe was like the most help. Like, she was a bit away with the fairies. Skate saying life would be good after Phoebe sending the email foreshadows the email not being accepted. The Everglades seemed kind of scary, but then again I don't like alligators. Jessie's story about the Everglades was scary. Jessie just walks about the Everglades. It's crazy. The cleansing duet, I don't know if it worked or didn't. Though the cleansing duet was good, it had good technique. Yay, the next step registered for internationals. Really all I kind of picked up. I rate it a 9 out of 10. Next is season 3, episode 25. I love watching competition episodes. I love watching the next step at internationals. I like seeing how we got to see all the teams so we could see what the next step's competition was. It's nice, also finding out how internationals work. The prank Ella did at internationals was so funny, like seeing Escape as being left there holding the sign was so funny. The Poland soloist was good, so fluid. and the solo just sort of flowed nicely and was wonderfully controlled. The lucky coin thing I don't believe, but it was obviously important to Eldon. Sweden, their solo was good, but personally I think Eldon in his solo had a lot more content. It's a lot more interesting. It just felt a bit stiff, Sweden's solo, but I do like Sweden and their team. It was good technique, it just kind of lacked the content. This solo was one of Eldon's best solos. I like how there was the emotion, the technique, the elements of ballet fused with gymnastics. Eldon, I think, definitely dancing for Talia worked. The next step as a whole comes so far from like regionals, and we see watching them at internationals. Eldon, his turns are amazing. Eldon hoping his solo is enough to impress the judges foreshadows Eldon not winning Mr. International solos. Riley's solo was good. Sweden, their female soloist was good, but we didn't see much. Ella doing Riley's solo, the choreo was so good, though you couldn't really tell, like Ella did do a good job at doing it. And you couldn't tell that it was like stolen, like you couldn't tell that kind of looked almost like it was Ella's dance. Apart from it was Riley's fault that she obviously showed Ella her solo. The dance we saw after Ella's we didn't see much. Good kicks and leaps, but that was it. Giselle's solo was good, it was nice seeing her not do just Accra and have bits of contemporary and harder hitting stuff. Giselle showed like her best strips. Good episode, 9 out of 10. Next is season 3, episode 26. Poland's dance is so strong and so powerful. This was when they were practicing on stage. Nationals was interesting because you never knew what was coming up. West just came up with some crazy stuff. Talia definitely crushed the Polish dancer. It was like, yes, Talia, she proved the next step are not a bad team just because you've never heard of them. Ella definitely shouldn't have won Miss International Soloist, Giselle should, but I don't know. At the end of the day, Riley doesn't have anyone but herself to blame for that. Makes a good point. You have to understand you can't trust anyone because anyone will do anything to win. I liked B-Troop's leaderboard. B-Troop did a good job on the leaderboard, though we didn't see it past that episode. The next step in season 3 was just one big family. Definitely marking was kind of bad because it's not fair on everyone else. Because after this round, they're up next. The multi-country 4-person dance was definitely an interesting round. The first dance we saw was interesting. It's good what we saw. Saw a lot of different things. Definitely reading a magazine was kind of annoying because she was just sort of skirting around her problems and issues. The second dance we saw was a bit kind of repetitive, but they did have some good stuff. Really good. Talia's group, they had a really good dance. They had so many tricks and flips. The next step's moving on, yay. I rate it a 9 out of 10. Next is season 3, episode 27. Blindfolded dancing is crazy. Stephanie wondering how adding Noah into their routine foreshadows Noah being helpful by being added into their routine. England's routine, they were pretty smart using touch to find each other, which was pretty cool, also smart. The backhand spring was amazing, along with turning leaps and good dances. Noah is a genius in how he's catching everything that's being thrown at him. And juggling blindfolded. The Philippine dance was pretty sick. Their tricks were sick. 3 aerials on the stage blindfolded, beside each other. Sweden was so clever they used a piece of fabric to connect all of the dances together. France, they're just so connected in that dance. They had some good extensions. Next step, Noah did really well in that dance. He made sure nobody bumped into anyone or fell into a spotter. Noah flipping with a blindfold, sick. Like, my goodness. Glad the next step won. The salsa music was incredible. The next round was definitely interesting. Good episode, 10 out of 10. Next is season 3, episode 28. I liked how we got to find out about the rounds at internationals. I found Poland a bit annoying, and their coach was super annoying in the fact that they didn't shut up about Talia being Eldon's almost girlfriend. Riley makes a good point. It was nice how the rounds work. The turning competition is intense. It was intense to watch. There was also the girls were flirting with the guys. Definitely fancy turns can be done. West saying Eldon's gonna kill it foreshadows Eldon killing the turning competition. The next step one, woo. South Africa, they were the first team to fall out of the turning competition. Their 5-person dance was rather messy, but they just got through the number, which was good. They had some good tricks, but it didn't fit together. Italy, we didn't see much of their dance, so I assume it was better than South Africa's. Germany, we didn't see their dance either, but I think Sweden would have picked them. Sweden, their improv and adaptability were good. The prop fitted into the dance, everything was clean. Sweden looked like they'd been dancing to this music for like 10 years. England, their dance started out strong, but lost the quality and never recovered. I feel like Poland should have won over England. Like, they had some gusto, their flips, their aerials, their leaps, so much power. The lift at the end was not the best, but England messed up more times, so I feel like they should have won. Jamaica, they were really in sync. Their front aerials, their side aerials, they just killed it. The next step, they killed the hip hop section. Amazing tumbling section, it was just so good. Eldon and Talia are finally dating, yay. Not that I was ever that bothered. Next is season 3, episode 29. Riley's saying they have to find a way to beat Ella, foreshadows the next step beating England. The international stage is massive. Amanda and Michelle's moment on stage was really magical. Italy, this was the first time we kind of got to see them dance. Their technique was insane. Their lifts were amazing. They had so much power in their dances. Sweden, their semi-finals routines, one of my favourite dances of Sweden's. They were so synchronised, their lifts were amazing, their extensions were good. Their tricks were good. It was like they were moving as one, and it was so impressive. But they could have added some edgier hip-hop sections, but it was still amazing, and it doesn't really bother me. Because they're just so consistently amazing. England had a beautiful routine, but the next step's more upbeat one was more of my thing. It had a good storyline and was a fluid routine. The next step, I liked how fun and upbeat their routine was. I liked the next step storyline. I love this dance because it was fun to watch and that. Yay, the next step are going to the finals. Lucienne being an international judge was only really thrown in, I think, to cause drama. Good episode, 9 out of 10. Next is season 3, episode 30. Riley and James, the mountain water scene was so romantic. And it gave a flashback to when they were preparing for regionals. Daniel being determined foreshadows him helping the next step. The next step have officially defeated Lucienne. Them getting removed was so funny. The next step, their finals routine. I love the concept of their finals dance. The props should have filled the stage. Like Rewind. The tricks and the flips were amazing. West flips were amazing. Sweden, they were kind of the opposite. Their dance was beautiful. Their prop was amazing. Their concept was stunning. They were the Nordic gods. The prop did give it the edge, but it was still a stunning dance. I was shocked it was a tie. Sweden's duet and this were good, but I think Riley and James' duet was definitely better. Riley and James, their duet was so emotional, but I think the camera angles made it so impressive. Sweden, their dance wasn't quite as reliant on the camera angles, like it sort of fitted with an audience as well as the camera angles. James and Riley, when they danced together, it was so emotional, amazing to watch, seeing everyone else getting so emotional. I got emotional watching it. There was God, the next step, one good episode, 9 out of 10. So, I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in another video. Bye.